What's up, everyone? I am Xavier Jones of Game On Media, and today joining me for a talk, interview, and conversation. Um, I got to get hyped for this one because I got to get ready to turn up the energy to cosmic levels. um, he's the Glowmoji himself, a record-breaking pro baseball slugger who's been launching bombs and stealing the show from the diamond to the entrepreneurial world. From walk-off heroics to building his empire, this man doesn't just play the game, he redefines it with unstoppable power, charisma, and that signature Chazz swagger. Um, everyone, the one, the only, Chazz Kirkland. What's up, my brother?
Hey man, Xavier! Wow, what an intro! Wow, I need to clip that that one just right there alone. That was awesome, man. I appreciate that.
Oh
My
man,
friend, my
anytime.
brother Xavier, how are you, man? It's a pleasure to be in your space. Virtually in this virtual podcast, conversational world. I'm grateful to be on. I feel like God brought us together. You don't necessarily know this, but I feel like the time that we met, I was only in Virginia at that time for like 9 days, 10 days, and then I was gone.
Oh wow.
So I'm just very grateful and thankful that we were not only able to stay in touch, but we were able to make our schedules work.
Hmm.
And just just here, I feel like there's power in conversation. And ready to get into it.
Yes, sir, man. Look, man, I saw you the first time um, walking. I was like, I said I should stop and say something, but I said I ain't gonna bother. I'm not gonna bother. And I think like maybe a day or two went by. I saw you again. I said, man, it's a sign from God. Let me stop, introduce myself. We started chopping it up. We exchanged contact information, and from there, everything just went smooth, copacetic. But like you said, we're able to get our schedules to align, and here we are.
Yes, sir. I mean, I don't think there's much more that needs to be said about it. I'm excited to watch all this play back. After our conversation, just to see what becomes of it. Because for me, um, I look back and just think about like, why do I still play? Like, why am I doing what I'm doing? And it's truly to pass it on to others, to bring others up, to give them the knowledge, to give them the behind the scenes, to allow them to see what it's like um, on a granular level. You know what I'm saying? Where it's
Hmm.
like you, at least with me, my teammates know this, my friends know this. It's as real as it gets. I don't shy away or hide anything. I'm excited to share my underdog story, my story in general. But I think, as you said, it's a blessing. It is a sign. It were signs all over because differently than you, that wasn't the first time that I saw you. I remember waving to you, and
Yeah,
that's an us thing. You know what I'm
yeah,
saying?
yeah,
But
yeah.
it leads to stuff like this, and you just never know what God has in store, and good things happen when you bring a smile, when you bring some patience, and you're open. And I think that's a big thing, and it's something that I see on both sides. I was really I don't even want to say impressed. I was truly I was blown away, when you just were able to introduce me to what it is that you were doing. And, you were saying that you were just getting started, but for me, it was more of just like, this is somebody that's doing something different,
Hmm.
his way, and bringing media and sports together in his own unique fashion. And I'm just, I'm grateful. I can't really say it any better than that, man. So I'm looking forward to getting into it, and once again, excited to be on this. I
Yeah,
don't think I don't think people really understand how few athletes get a chance to speak and share their side. You know what I'm saying?
hmm,
I know that the top 0.1 percenters get to speak on ESPN and all these different media channels after
yeah,
they prove themselves on the field. But
yeah,
to be able to just talk to you, and you haven't even seen my game yet, man. I'm excited. I'm blessed and grateful, and once again, thank you for having me on, and I'm excited to talk.
Oh yeah, man. Like I said, man, I appreciate you coming on and giving me the time, the opportunity to talk to you, interview you, for you to tell your story. And for real, it's important because we need, as I was telling you, my son just started playing instructional t-ball. I would like for him to see more people that look like us playing the sport.
Mm-hmm.
It's just because I feel like we don't have as much representation like we used to have back in the day.
Mm-hmm.
Although baseball is a global sport, is it's one of those sports where like it's expensive to play, but it's fun. It's cosmic.
It's different,
Yes, and I heard people say the hardest thing to do is to hit a baseball, and I have no arguments or anything about that. I've been to plenty of baseball games, and I barely see the ball come across the plate. So the fact that y'all have the wherewithal, the hand-eye coordination to tell what pitch is coming, and if it's in the strike zone and out the strike zone, to me is impressive. And then the fact that y'all can stand in the batter's box and let something like anywhere from 95 to 100 miles per hour just zoom right past you, all power to you.
I appreciate that, man. Now there are no lies told in that. I mean, growing up, man, I was always I always knew that it was baseball, at least for me. You know what I'm saying? I played football for a year or two growing up when I was like younger, pee wee stuff. I was also a hooper growing up as well. I decided to hang up my gym shoes. This was like my freshman year of high school. I remember going to the tryout just to be around my friends, you know what I'm saying, and see what the basketball opportunities had in high school. And I'll never forget, the coach was like, "Get on the line." I was like, "Whoa!" And at that point, I was, this is enough for me. You know what I'm saying? And my mom was very supportive of me in all my sports, especially baseball and basketball. Played on the AAU teams, grew up in Chicago, so basketball city, and I just didn't have that same spark, that same admiration, that same love for the game as I did baseball. And I wish I had sent you just more physical evidence of that. I've got a picture with Frank Thomas.
The Big Hurt.
The Big Hurt at Comiskey Park when I was about 6 years old, and somehow my mom flagged him down while they were taking BP and in their warm ups and stuff, and there's peanut head 6-year-old me next to the Big Hurt, and I didn't really know in that moment what was going on then like I do now, whereas someone just genuinely giving you their time.
Yeah.
That guy didn't know me from a can of paint, didn't owe me anything, didn't owe my mom anything. But he took a picture of me. And I know he shared some words, probably gave me a fist bump. But just being in his presence. And that's something that I'll come back to at a later point, as we go along in our conversation. But just being in the presence of somebody that is profound, that is great, that is amazing at what they do. This guy earned a nickname for hitting baseballs, for hurting baseballs.
Yeah.
I think that really did something for me in that moment where it gave me what I'm trying to give kids now, where it's just a chance to familiarize yourself and realize that he's a human being too. I'm a human being too. I just found what I was passionate about. And, like I said, there's no lies told. Baseball is hard. It's a tough game.
Yeah.
It's a tough game universally across the board. And what I'll also say and follow that up with is that it's tough for us because there aren't a lot of us in this game right now, especially as it was in the 60s, 70s, 80s coming up,
Yeah.
the 90s. And, the game is dying. I think sports in general are dying, which is why you see these different moves being made across all levels of sports, whether it be the NCAA with the NIL stuff,
Mm-hmm.
um, you know, baseball with cosmic baseball and banana ball and all these different things.
Yeah.
Even the Pro Bowl, they're doing flag football stuff. You know what I'm saying? They're trying to really uh, be more inclusive or as inclusive as they can be because they know that at those top levels, at those premier levels, it's not very inclusive. It is very few and far between where opportunities are presented and really seized. You know what I'm saying? So um, hitting in baseball is by far one of the hardest things that I've ever encountered. Um, was a pretty solid defender on the court. Could also shoot it a little bit. Thankfully I had an arm, so I know I can throw a football.
Mm-hmm.
In my collegiate days, I actually recorded one collegiate soccer game that I, subbed in on, found my way, so that's under my belt too, that most people don't know about, so
Okay.
I,
Okay.
I, I try to, I'm big on speaking from experience and, it's hard, man. And that difficulty doesn't ever change. You know what I'm saying? I think the only things that change is the player,
Mm-hmm.
and how talented they are and how mechanically sound they are, fundamentally sound they are. And that for me in the beauty and the grand scheme of baseball, it's all fundamental. It's reps. You know what I'm saying? I think in the NFL and the NBA, someone can be blessed with God given height, God given strength, God given ability. Where in baseball you can find that too, but a common denominator is this game is hard for everybody.
Yeah.
You know
Yeah.
what I'm saying? So I'm just grateful to be in the position that I am and the platform that I do have. I'm just grateful to share it and really connect with others. I don't think that this game was. I don't think it was an accident for me. You know what I'm saying? And
Mm-hmm.
every encounter for the last 29 years, you know what I'm saying? A lot of them go back to baseball for me in
Oh yeah.
some way, shape, or form. And I'm just grateful and blessed to play this game, and just want to give it back.
Okay. Okay. All right. Now, so let's talk about your path to professional baseball. It wasn't the typical draft to minors route. What was the biggest lesson from your Division III NCAA days that still influence you how you approach the game today?
Man, your current level it isn't definitive of who you are and where you'll go. Um, I think your approach and how you show up and how you go about your work, how you go about things, it will follow you, good, bad, or otherwise. And that's something that I would really, really, really like for any young person, whether you play baseball, tennis, or you want to go into corporate America. That common denominator it remains true for me. And I've seen that it remains true for a lot of people, because, baseball is a game of life. It truly, it showed up for me in ways that, my absent father couldn't. It grounded me. It humbled me. Um, made me realize that I'm a lot better than I think I am, and at the same time, you're not as good as you think you are. And I think that there's a funny contrast to that. Where one minute you can be on the high of highs, 4 for 4, home run, hits galore, and then the next day you come back and you 0 for 4 with 4 strikeouts,
Mm.
and no balls were hit to you in the field. You feel like you contributed to nothing. So I think a lot of what baseball did for me was give me perspective, it showed me a lot about myself as well. And that path, man, it made me realize that it's never really over until you say it is. Um, I started playing baseball when I was 3. I graduated college in 2019, and I stepped away for about a year and a half. That 20, my last college game was April 28th of 2019.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't get back into baseball until March of 2021, where I just so happened to join a men's league on the in the northwest suburbs of Chicago, and man, this was a Facebook post that I got on my birthday, where the actual manager of our team, he was notorious for running men's league teams, competitive men's league teams, and he would just scout all the, top college guys, regardless of level and competitive rank, just guys that he liked, guys that he knew that could play. And he would go and put these teams together, and they would just go and play. And one thing led to another. It showed me how competitive I am, where I just can't play for fun.
Yeah.
I just can't play to play. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And I remember playing. I remember getting the Facebook post and just ignoring it. And he actually followed up. He sent me, posted on my wall on my birthday, liked it or whatever, said thank you. And in that post, he was like, "Happy birthday, Chazz. Like, really would like to get you back on the field this year." And I'm like, I don't like at this time, I didn't even know this guy. You know what I'm saying? Like, we had never met before. And probably about like a month and a half later, he followed back up. It's like with a direct message. Yo, thought about playing. We'll waive your your player dues. We'll waive your player dues. Just come be around the guys. Just come to a practice. Like, all right, I remember going to my first practice just to swing it. Spent about 45 minutes in the cage. Nothing crazy. Met some of the guys. Told me what it was. Said, hey, it's gonna be like $150 for your jerseys. $100 covers the jerseys. $50 covers the umpire fees for the year. That's it. Like, come to the games if you can. Everything else, like, we understand. No pressure.
Yeah.
All right, cool. Ended up showing up to our first game, and Xavier, I was ass. Like, I was like 0 for 5 with 4 Ks, and the one ball that I put in play, I grounded out to short. And that moment, I was just like, the 6-year-old in me came back, or is just like, no. We don't suck at this game. We might suck at times, or we might have a bad game, but like being like universally bad is not what we are.
Oh yeah.
So we get back to work. We get back in the cages. We start playing this, that, and the other. Next game comes by, 0 for 4 again, but all balls put in play. Pop out, fly out, ground out, here, this, that, and the other. One of the teammates that I had, Ryan Vega, one of my good friends to this day. We actually do giveaways each month to just youth athletes in baseball and softball, just to give them gear. And looked at me one of these games, and he was just like, man, he's like you fiery, huh? He's like, you like to compete. I was like, yeah. He's like, you can play. And I was like, appreciate you, bro. And I'm very to myself until I really like feel comfortable opening up and this, that, and the other. And this entire team, I didn't know anyone. I didn't know any of these dudes. So a couple weeks go by, March rolls on. We're in this is like just after Easter. And at this point, I'm like, Xavier, like I need to hit something hard. You know what I'm saying? Like I need to, I want to play at this point. Like I'm like, it's oozing out of me, but I haven't said it yet. I haven't confided in anybody yet. Like what I'm trying to do, what I want to do. Like I haven't done that. And what I realized about myself is that as I just continue to get reps, that it just continues to build and build and build. And then one game I had went 1 for 5, 4 strikeouts, and I almost hit a kid on the other field playing center field. And this is like a little leaguer. He's like 10 or 11 years old. I hit a home run so far, so hard that I was just like, that's the feeling that I've been chasing. That's what I wanted. And when I hit it, it was just, it all came back in that moment. And I remember coming back across home plate, and like the entire dugout was just like, oh shit, like whoa, like, damn. And my buddy Ryan was just like, so like, you want to have this conversation or what? And I'm like, Ryan, what you got to say, man? Like, what you want to talk about? Like, what's up? He's like, I think that you should pursue a professional career. I'm like, what would that look like? Where do I even start? You know what I'm saying? Because at this time, all I knew was you either get drafted or you don't. I didn't know at the time that there were all these international professional leagues, international major leagues. I didn't know that there were these independent baseball leagues and all these different things. And he was just very short and to the point. He's like, I got a guy in South Florida I want to introduce you to. Whenever you're ready, he will give you an evaluation. And, if he says you can play, you can play. Okay. The entire season goes by. Now, mind you, Xavier, I start on this first team where I meet Ryan and all these different things, and they're called the War Dogs. At the end of this year, this was like October of 2021, I am now on 3 teams that I'm just getting reps, spinning, just playing ball. And Ryan's my teammate on all of them. He's like, yo, come play with me on this team, come play with me on that team. And it was beautiful, Xavier. Like at this time, like I'm, and I'm just going to be very transparent with you. Baseball is a universal sport, but it is vastly different in different cultures. Mm-hmm. And what I didn't realize at the time is that I was going against different cultures and playing in different styles of baseball with these various teams that I was playing with Ryan. Ryan is Latino. Ryan is Mexican. Ryan is a proud Mexican man. And the War Dogs was a team in the northwest suburbs of Chicago where I was playing a lot of white males. Another team that we were playing on was in the south side of the city where I was playing against a lot of Latino guys. The other team that we were playing on every other weekend was a mix of both. So I saw myself being able to perform and fail in different crowds, in different groups, in different settings. And for the life of me, I couldn't understand why this league on the south side was so damn difficult for me, why it was so hard. But in that setting, it was very much like a more is much more high intensity from the standpoint of the crowd was involved, the stands were in play, people were talking smack to you, they were letting you know when you did bad, they were letting you know when you did great, and they were also speaking to you in Spanish. So there was so much coming at you all at once where I hadn't really felt this development since I was 12, 13, 14 years old. This was a long time ago. And ever since I got into high school, I was going against white kids, white guys. Yeah. And that was really all that I was playing. So that exposure for me wasn't super crazy. Don't get it twisted. The talent was always there, universal across the board, but just very different demographics that bring something else out of you. For example, playing in the World Baseball Classic is very, very different than playing in a regular Major League Baseball season. Playing in the Dominican Winter League is very, very different than playing in your Korean Baseball League overseas.
Mm-hmm.
So all these different environments really start to show you what you're made of. And from there, man, I just took off like a rocket. And I told Ryan that I wanted to link up with this guy in Florida. He invited me out to Fort Lauderdale or South Florida for 30 days. December 1st of 2021, I went out to Florida. I was supposed to be there just for a 30-day evaluation. I went down there and I worked out in front of him for 3 days. Third day, he said, "Don't leave. We're gonna go and we're gonna go up to this workout in Philadelphia, New Jersey, Connecticut, and New York."
All right, let me ask you this then. All right, so you said on December 1st, 2021, you went down to Florida, pretty much no guarantees, and you were chasing an opportunity to play in the independent league.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. With that being said, what was the scariest part of betting on yourself like that, and what gave you the confidence to do it?
The scariest part is just not knowing. I think that the beauty in being drafted, the beauty in being a Division I recruit, the beauty in all those things, right, is that there's a level of certainty there in some capacity where not only you know that you can compete and play at a high level because you have a history and a track record that you've done it on paper via statistics, videos and highlights as well. But also when your name is called, if your name gets called, there's money that coincides with that. You're being paid. You know what I'm saying? You get drafted, there's money there for you. You got an opportunity for at least a year or two, depending on where you get drafted, depending on what your slot is, depending on how much they pay you. The more they pay you, the longer your chance is going to be, the longer your opportunity is going to be. And for me, I had none of that. I was banking on somebody that I never met before, that I had to pay to evaluate me and begin to go into his network and say, "Yo, I got this guy, I got this guy, I got this guy." Thankfully, at the time, I'd been, working in a sales company where I was able to, put some money away and this, that, and the other. And I had a, little chunk of change. Went out to South Florida, was just living, day by day. Didn't know what this encountered. When he told me not to leave, I didn't. I got there December 1st. We went to a 5-day workout December 7th through the 12th. Or no, we went to a 5-day workout December 3rd through the 8th. Got back to South Florida on the 9th. In the midst of that workout, I was just following him and this group of guys, and we would go and perform in front of these indie ball coaches, these indie ball coaches, these indie ball managers, these indie ball scouts, here, there, this, that, and the other. And for the first 4 days of those 5-day workouts, no one talked to me. No one said anything to me.
Okay.
Not a word. Right. Not a word.
So let's go back real quick. You mentioned you work for this company making some money. Mm-hmm. What was the name of the company?
So I worked for Cutco, which are Vector Marketing. We sold Cutco knives, Cutco cutlery, Cutco products. Okay. And that was a company that I started with when I was 18, when I graduated high school. Okay. And this also kind of plays a role into it as well, is because I've just never followed the traditional path. This was a job that was widely assumed to be a scam. A lot of people didn't, it didn't have very good praises. But what I learned about myself at that time as well is that when I see something, I hone in on it and I can't give it up until I see for myself. And I remember being in this interview with my manager at the time, and he, was demoing the products. and I just saw how good the product was, and I knew that I could sell it. But more importantly, what I knew that I wanted to do was I wanted to run my own organization. That was the only reason why I wanted to do this job, is because I truly believed that I could assemble and build my own team. And from the time that I graduated college in 2019 up until July of 2021, I was all in on this. So I was full time in that job, but I've been working with that company since June of 2015. So for about 6 years, I on and off summers coming back from college over winter break, this, that, and the other, I was working with this company, developing sales skills, developing marketing skills, developing networking skills, all of these different pieces that make me today. I was holding my knife, I was holding my blade, and I was working on myself. And it wasn't easy, right? Like I wasn't the best one out of the gate. Rarely am I. And what I do know though is once I figure it out, everybody else is cooked. And it took me about 4 years to figure it out. It wasn't until 2020 we did over $500,000 in sales in kitchen products in 2020, all virtual. None of our representatives did any like in-person demonstrations. It was all virtual. And that was that time where I like started to see the fruits and to reap the rewards and benefits of the 5 years prior. So in that time, I was learning different skills that at the time, like I was only using for this job, but now I use to market myself in brand deals, have conversations, develop my network, broaden my horizons, broaden my network in general. And ultimately led me to kind of where I'm at today. But to kind of connect those dots, I stepped down from my position once I was clear that I was going to go to Florida and pursue this. They all thought I was crazy. They were like, whatever, you do your thing. And at the time I was running half of downtown Chicago. So the territory that I had was widely like sought after. And I'll never forget, I had a conversation with my manager, Greg Strine. Shout out to you, Greg, if you see this, because I feel like this was a pivotal moment in my timeline as well, is where like, I really had the cojones to come up to him and be like, hey, like I don't want to do this anymore. I want to go pursue baseball. And he had a genuine, honest conversation with me. And he was like, Chazz, do you really believe? And I'm trying to phrase this question the right way because I know how it may come off to others, but how it came off to me was him really asking me like, yo, do you really believe in yourself? Do you really believe that you can go and do this? And what he said was, Chazz, do you believe you can play? And mind you, this was towards the second half of me, getting back into the game of baseball. And at this point, Xavier, I was him. Like on my team, like they were, I let off, to give you an example, to give you a better understanding. I hit first, Ryan hit second behind me, and it was go, go, go. And that was the first time where I feel like I really outwardly projected my belief in myself. And he was like, if you believe in yourself and you believe that you can play, go do it. And what was beautiful about it was that Greg was a baseball player himself. He played in high school, didn't play in college, but he loved the game. So I think that he saw and felt my passion for it, which resonated with him as to why he was like, you know what, go do it. And so to kind of reconnect those dots and pick back up is, when I'm in Florida or when I'm in the Northeast in these workouts in December, no one's talking to me. I'm just kind of thinking, like, yo, like what? Like, hey, like, what's up? And it wasn't until the last day, and I'll never forget. I was I was with my friend Matt Morgan. Matt Morgan was a Alabama commit. He got drafted out of high school by the Toronto Blue Jays in 2014. So he's a year older than me. Two vastly different experiences of baseball, right? But we ended up in the same place at these workouts, trying to, redeem ourselves, get another opportunity to get back to where he once was and where I wanted to be for the first time in my life.
Okay.
And on the last day, there was a Philly scout. There were actually two of them at this workout in I think it was Egg Harbor, New Jersey, at this hitting facility. Matt was a catcher. He got drafted as a catcher. So one of the scouts was an actual catching scout, and he took Matt's information, got all his contact info, this, that, and the other. The other scout pulled me to the side. He was just like, "Man, you've got some electric hands. Like, your hands are so fast. What's your name? Tell me a little bit more about you." Told him, said, "Hey, my name is Chazz, from Chicago. I'm, part of this program and just trying to find an opportunity." And he was like, "Pretty quick." I said, "Yeah." At that time, my best 60 time was like a 6'4", and he was like, "All right, we'll keep in touch." That scout never contacted me, never reached back out to me.
Okay.
But Xavier, that conversation, what it did was it just kept me going. It made me realize that, damn, like, somebody outside of me thinks that I'm good. Somebody outside of Matt Morgan thinks that I'm good. Somebody outside of my mom thinks that I'm talented. Somebody outside of my group of friends saw me and saw my talents. So it just helped me continue to move forward. Now, come back from these workouts, this, that, and the other, and I don't ever want to remove God from this because He's in all of it. This is Him, and as I continue to share this story with you, you'll see that. As I come back to Florida, I'm like, damn, Joe's right. Like, don't leave. Like, this is the place to be. And before I even got on the plane to go to Florida, I prayed and I asked for three things. I said, "God, like, if this is genuinely for me, like, if this is something that you got for me, right? Like, I know I need three things. I'm humble enough to come to you and ask for these three things." I said, "I need a coach that is going to help me get my body into performance and professional shape. I need a mentor, someone to give me the fundamentals and teach me the fundamentals in a way that I've never been taught before, that has been to where it is that I want to go, that is played at the highest level. And three, Father God, I just need a chance. I just need an opportunity. I just need an opportunity." And literally the day that I landed, Xavier, the hotel that I had booked that I was going to stay in was right next to the field they were practicing at. Mm-hmm. It was one of the worst establishments that I've ever walked into. It was nasty. There were, just unruly people on the hotel grounds. It was just not a place where I felt comfortable.
Yeah.
And I had one person that I knew in the entire state of Florida, let alone in the city of Fort Lauderdale, which is where I was getting my grounding. And it was a homeboy that I met at Cutco. His name is Chris Chazz. And we worked together for one summer. And in that one summer, we built a relationship and a connection that just grew and grew and grew. Mm-hmm. And I said, "Chris," I said, "Yo, is there any way that I can just stay on your couch for a couple of days? I'll give you some gas money to come pick me up. Like, this hotel, I can't stay here." He was like, "Yo, let me ask my roommate." He's like, I'm gonna call you back in like 10, 15 minutes. Mind you, this is at like 10:30 at night already. Mm-hmm. He's like, "Yo, my roommate said he's good. He's good with it. You stay on our couch stay as long as you need. You figure your stuff out, this, that, and the other." Chris comes and picks me up, takes me back to his place. His roommate, little did I know, is and was my performance coach and has been for the last 5 years.
Wow.
That's the gentleman Fernando that you see in my training videos and stuff like that. One of my best friends. I was just training with him in Dallas. I follow him wherever he goes. And that gentleman has he's put me in a physical bracket that other guys ask me, how do you move like this? How do you steal so many bases? How are you so athletic? How? And it's his training. And he's never charged me a dime. And from day one, I told him, I said, hey, I'm pursuing this dream. I know it sounds crazy, but I just need somebody to give me a chance that can get my body to what I know it can be. He was like, I got you. I would Uber to and from Fernando at Florida Memorial University, which is the furthest south historical Black college and university in the country. And that's where we built our relationship. That's where we built the foundation of our performance training. And ever since then, he's been my go-to guy. And he's gotten me to where I am today physically. Now, Xavier, this is if you ain't feeling him already, right? This is where God really showed me not only that he's real, but he hears me.
Okay.
At Florida Memorial University, I'm working out. So let me backtrack, right? I meet Fernando. Chris brings me over to his spot. He introduces me to his roommate. Fernando's his roommate. He's not my coach. I tell him, I said, hey, I'm getting my bearings. I'm practicing with these guys. I'm trying to figure it out. Just give me a week. I'm going to go to these workouts. When I come back, we'll hit the ground running. I come back from these workouts. I say, I'm staying. Whatever workout plan you got for me, let's get to it. We start working out. I start Ubering to the university to and from each and every day. A couple of days go by. I call my mom. I said, hey, Mom. I said, what are your thoughts on me moving to Florida? Because mind you, Xavier, I'm supposed to just be here for the month of December. That's it.
Yeah.
She was like, if you can afford it, if you can do it, go do it. Chase your dreams, baby. Like, do what you need to do. I walk across the street to the apartment complex, which is literally, and I shit you not, across the street from where I'm staying. Most people, they go apartment hunting, they go here, they go there, they blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
I go across the street, I walk into the leasing office and said, hey, I'm looking for a studio or a 1-bedroom. Can you show me anything? We go on a tour that day. Xavier, this is either the 10th or the 11th. My lease is signed and official by the 12th. Fernando thinks that I'm joking about moving in, across the street. He's like, you playing? He's like, stop playing with me. Bring back the lease. I said, I'm serious. And I think in his mind, this is where he's like,
mind blown.
This dude is crazy. He's like and I am, right. So move in, and I'm just building this from the ground up, Xavier, right? Like, I don't know any of these things are going to happen as they happen and all that. I'm just going with the flow. So mind you, I said, I need a coach who's going to get my body in shape, and I need a mentor who's going to teach me the fundamentals, who's been to where I want to go, and who's played the game at the highest level. So as we get on with these workouts at FMU, I said, Fernando, I said, I need a place to do more, to get more reps in, to get more work done. I need a place where I can't beat these guys by working out with these guys at the same time. I got to do something different. I got to do more. He was like, all right, Chazz, let me talk to the baseball coach. I got a really good relationship with him. See if he can, if you can work out with the team and this, that, and the other. I said, great. This is on a Friday. Fernando comes back to me on Tuesday. He said, hey, talk to the coach. He said, yo, bring your stuff. He said, if you can play, you can stay. If you can't play, he's only having high level guys out here. I'm like, all right, bet. Can't wait. I'm looking forward to it. This is a Wednesday. the gym and the baseball field are maybe 500 feet apart. The only thing that separates them is a patch of grass and a parking lot.
Okay.
He walks me over to the field. He says, "Hey, Coach Burgos, this is my guy Chazz. He's the one I've been telling you about. He wants to work out with you guys." And Burgos, the head baseball coach, is standing in a group of 4 with 3 other gentlemen. One is the assistant coach. His name is Charles. The other one is the hitting coach. His name is Akeem. The other gentleman standing directly across from him is Hall of Famer Barry Larkin,
Wow.
the Cincinnati Reds.
Wow.
Yeah. You feel me? And at this time, and so mind you, right? Like
let me ask you this real quick. As this is unfolding before, like right before your eyes, like what is going through your head? Because you said you prayed to God, you asked for 3, like you spoke them into existence, and you asked for 3 specific things, and it's like God had your questions like in a checklist, and he just boom, 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 checked them all off right then and there. Like so tell me what like what's going on through your mind as this is unfolding.
as this is unfolding, I'm just like, it's kind of like a fever dream. Like in a lot of ways, I'm very much uh is God, is this for me? You know what I'm saying? Like I'm not questioning it. I think I'm more so questioning myself, not him. I'm questioning me. Like, yo, like can you
I think that when you see it unfold like that so quickly, I think it's a natural response that we not question God, but we question ourselves. Like, okay, we spoke to God, we asked for these specific things to happen, and boom, He presented it to us like on an open platter.
you feel me?
The fact that it happened like that, I think it's just a natural response. No, I wouldn't say you were questioning God, but like you said, you question yourself. But like you like I'm saying, I think it's just a natural reaction, a natural response to like you wasn't expecting it to happen so fast.
Yeah,
So
and for not just so fast, but for it to be so tailored. This was custom.
but
This,
but
this
but I've been told, and I'm starting to realize, if you when you talk to God and you're specific in asking him what you want, either he's gonna like your story, he's gonna present it to you and he's gonna give you the chance to run with it, or he's gonna guide you in the right direction to achieve those goals that you set for yourself.
yes,
So
sir.
so yours is on the latter as far as he presented it to you and he's just giving you the extra push to go ahead and pursue it.
And I wouldn't even, and like presenting it is such a, it's such a word where I almost feel like he just put the ball in my court.
Yeah.
Where you know some of those um, first person video games where you have all these different items that you can grab, and there's no right or wrong one per se, but what you do, the choices that you make, they lead to
Mm-hmm.
certain outcomes. And it's
Mm-hmm.
just like, okay, not only it's almost like I'm thinking like he's thinking, not only does he think that he's asking for the right things, let's give it to him. Let's see what he does with it.
Yeah.
And for me at that time, I'm just very much like Xavier. I'm like, well, first and foremost, I look at Fernando. I'm like, you know how you kind of look at your homeboy, where you like, hey, like, you know.
Yeah.
And Fernando's a football guy. He's an NFL guy. He has no idea who Barry Larkin is, and I'm like, and so now, right now, Fernando gets removed from the equation because he goes back to train, the other teams that he has on his schedule, and it's just
Mm-hmm.
me, this Hall of Famer, these coaches, and it's is back in that gauntlet, right? I don't
Yeah.
know any of these dudes. None of these dudes know me. The only thing that we share is this game and how we play it. And that's all that they're looking at. They don't care. They don't know. They don't know that I was a D3 guy. They don't know that I was cut from varsity as a junior. They don't know that they don't know.
Yeah.
They have
Yeah.
no idea, nor do they care. And I think that was the best part for me. They don't care. Can you do it? Because that's what teams look for
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
when they sign a guy, whether it be a Division 1, a Division 2, a Division 3, a draft pick, an indie ball guy. They want to know, are you reliable and can you do it consistently? And
Yeah.
that's what they were looking at from me. And I just got out there and I played my game. And he was like, and it's funny because the coach didn't even look at my swing. He was fixing the nets on this giant ladder while
Mm-hmm.
everybody else was evaluating me. And he was just listening to the ball off the bat.
Mm.
He was like, he looked at Barry. Barry looked at him. And it's funny because Barry thought that I was an 18-year-old soon-to-be recruit. And
Mm-hmm.
he was telling Burgos, he was like, we got one. We got one. We got one. And then I told Barry, I said, no, I'm 24. I'm trying to find my way back into this game. This game chewed me up, spit me out at one point, and I don't just want my get back. I want to prove something to myself.
Yeah.
And that's when Barry Larkin took me under his wing. And it's funny because once again, here's God, right? And I'm not sure how familiar you are with MLB, Major League Baseball, but at that time, Major League Baseball was struggling to come to another agreement with the Players Association. So they were in a short-term lockout, meaning that off-season was extended by another month. So instead of people going back February 15th, 16th, 17th like they normally do,
Mm-hmm.
I had the luxury of being around these guys damn near until the end of March. So, and this is where it gets even better, right? This is where I feel like God not only hears us, but he gives us more than what we ask for, especially when you steward it the right way.
Oh yeah.
Barry just so happened to move to South Florida from Orlando, and he was hosting workouts with pros in the off season. So you know how NBA, like guys, they have their summer runs in Vegas and all these different, places where they get their,
Oh
group
yeah.
of
Yeah.
15 dudes and
The
they run fives.
the famous UCLA Rico Hine
Mm-hmm.
runs. Yes. Yes.
Mm-hmm. This was that in Miami. This was that in the hood of Miami Gardens. This was that in a time and a place where everybody involved was in a transition period of going from who they were to who they're going to be. Because Xavier, the people that were at these workouts, Jazz Chisholm Jr., Mark Vientos, Jeter Downs, BJ Murray, Willie Adames, these are guys that now are household names. These are guys that everybody that was in these workouts had success at a high level, including myself, in their own individual lane. And we was just showing up, getting after it. I'm talking about a Hall of Famer coming and giving us his time for 5, 6, 7 hours a day. These workouts, Xavier, would start at 10:30. We wouldn't leave till like 4, 5 o'clock. We was just getting after it. And it was guys just getting better, just playing the game. And this was where I grew so much as a ball player, Xavier, because for the life of me, I never felt accepted. I never felt like I had this circle or this group of people that I could not only learn from, but also lean on, be uncomfortable around,
Yeah.
be not my best self around, where, you got guys that are now playing with the New York Yankees in World Series.
Yeah.
Mark Vientos went on a playoff run where he saved the Mets. He saved their postseason. and he played in maybe 110 games. Got called up from AAA, but everybody had their own battle. Everybody had their own struggle that they were struggling with. Chazz at the time was with the Miami Marlins, who weren't doing anything.
No.
And he didn't know that 2 years later he'd be with the New York Yankees. So these workouts, you know what I'm saying? These workouts, they were just as much spiritual as they were physical. And no one knew what was going on. It was just a bunch of guys getting together. And what's crazy, Xavier, is I've never seen or been a part of something like it since. We can't even recreate that anymore. Because of just it was just you were there or you weren't. And I know we've been on this topic for so long, but it's such a pivotal moment in my career and in my life, because that time with those guys changed everything, because it not only showed me that I could play with these dudes, but as I'm sure you'll understand, I could get with them too.
Oh yeah. See,
you know what I'm saying?
And see, and that leads into my next question. So your story resonates because it's not a perfect, but it's linear success. So it's full of stops and restarts and hard choices. So what's one moment from your journey that fans might not see but was pivotal for you? And I feel like you kind of answered that just now with the story you just told with working out with Chisholm, Murray, all those guys, and then having Hall of Famer Barry Larkin become your mentor and everything like that. But if you want to add anything else to that, so
yeah, and I can't even. I'm shocked that I forgot about Monte Harrison. Monte Harrison was such a big part in that too, because he was like the one that I could just confide in. Like, I wouldn't say that I was close to a lot of these dudes. Some of these guys I follow, connect with on Instagram, and we text here and there. I check in and just try to maintain that relationship. But a lot of these guys I don't. The only thing that brought us together was baseball. And Monte was someone that he was drafted in the second round by the Milwaukee Brewers. He got paid to play. And just seeing his career over the course of 10 years, this is someone that, would invite me over to his house after workouts. So this is somebody that would break bread with me. You know what I'm saying? Would Uber me home as I was a little bro that like didn't live in downtown Miami, that wasn't like in the high rise and this, that, and the other. And he would still bring me along. And the time that changed my life, I'll never forget it. And I don't think he would mind me sharing this, but Barry Larkin actually cussed me out. And it was actually insane. Because the only other person that ever like would really, get on my ass about anything in life like this was my mom.
But I didn't mean to cut you off, but with you saying that just lets you know. Probably at the moment you didn't realize it, but I know after the fact it lets you know that he really cared. He was invested in you. So anytime I feel like a mentor or a coach or someone that you're real close with or you look up to is hard on you, especially when you make a mistake or something like that, it's because they care. They see the potential. They see what you can become, and they see that you're working so hard. So they can't. I feel like they have to match your intensity. They can't. You can't come in all with high intensity, and then they come in all even kill. They have to match it. So I feel like I said, he cared enough to let you know, to give it to you real and raw, to let you know, like, come on, let's go.
And it was interesting because it's not just what he did, but it's how he did it. And in hindsight, he treated me like I was a major league prospect, like I was a guy that was no different than the guys that he was inviting to those workouts. And he cussed me out in front of everybody. in the workout. We were all in the dugout. It was like a water break, this and the other. And one thing about me, Xavier, is I'm an auditory learner, so I'm gonna ask you a ton of questions because I want to hear you talk this through. I want to hear you sound this out for me. In other words, and there was one time where he just snapped on me, and he was just like, "How about you start coming here with some damn answers, as opposed to coming here with all these damn questions all the time? Like maybe we get somewhere." And he definitely used different words, and he was
Oh
a lot
yeah,
more
yeah.
louder, and it was
Hmm.
just a little, it was a little embarrassing at the time. Um, and one thing I appreciate about myself is that I just don't give up on anything. If I really want something, I'm a stick with it. And we showed up the next day, and he was like, I didn't expect to see you. And I was like, oh, you thought some harsh words was gonna scare me away.
Yeah.
And looking back in that moment, it was such a pivotal moment because it was actually poetic. None of the guys said anything. They didn't make fun of me. They didn't make light of the situation. They knew what was going on, and they let me have it. They let me have my moment, and didn't pout, didn't cry, didn't back down from it. Took it, wore it, showed up the next day ready to go. And at that time, it was hard. At that time, it wasn't something that I wanted to hear, because at that point, like, I just wanted to be accepted. I wanted to be told that, like, no, you are good enough. And I think what was interesting is that they were telling me without telling me. They let those actions speak. They kept having me come back to workouts. They addressed me by my name. They'd address me by my home city. In those workouts, I was referred to as Chicago.
Mm.
And it was such a profound moment. But I look back on all those things, and in just that time in Fort Lauderdale, um, I built some of the most important relationships that I have now. And one of my good friends, Brandon Crosby, who also plays on the Chili Peppers. We play against each other every night. I met him in South Florida, and I don't have this opportunity with the Glowmojis now, if he and I don't cross paths. I'm a firm believer in that. I believe that people are put into your lives for many, many reasons. I think one of Brandon's reasons why he was brought into my life was to open a door for me. And I think that we've opened doors for each other in a variety of different ways. And, you know, that Florida arc was so important, Xavier. I
Yeah.
think it gave me the edge and then some, to be who I am today in this game, and I couldn't be more thankful.
Okay. So let me piggyback off of that. Emotional honesty is a big part of who you are as a Glowmoji. Um, so how do you balance vulnerability needed with your ultra competitive side needed to perform at a pro level?
Yeah, I think it starts with just being myself. Not trying to be like anyone else. Not trying to be someone else. Not trying to be a different version of myself. Just being me. And I think what's unique about baseball is that, no one's going to have your swing. No one's going to have my swing. No one's going to have my throwing motion. There may be similarities, but the beauty and the anatomy of human nature, and just the human physiology, is that no one can replicate Chazz Kirkland. Um, and with that being said, from an emotional standpoint, uh, no one can replicate that either. I think, you know, one of the things that Jordan did very well is Michael Jordan imposed his will on you too. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying? Like,
yeah.
he was very talented. He was 99% of the time the most talented person on the floor.
Hmm.
Um, but you would hear all these different stories of him imposing his will on people in a variety of different ways, whether it be through spoken word, whether it be through action, whether it be through a combination of both. And I think that that's a superpower that not everybody has. I believe that I have it. I believe that I'm learning how to contain it and control it. Um, and being a professional, there are certain things that you can and cannot do, and learning those things the hard way. But also going back to college, right? Like I'm a firm believer that God doesn't ever give you more than you can handle. Which is why at the time I think that I was a Division III recruit, not because I wasn't talented enough, but because that's what I was able to handle at the age of 18, 19, 20, 21 years old.
Mhm.
If I go to one of those big schools in the SEC, I think I act a fool and I embarrass myself, and I probably don't play beyond the collegiate level. But where I was, it gave me it gave me a chance to fail and to fail gracefully. And there were a lot of times where I had to really, really, really check my emotions. Um, Xavier, I've been suspended before. I've been suspended multiple times, as a collegiate athlete and as a professional. Um, I on the verge of being kicked off the team multiple times, kicked off the team once, and brought back in the same day through you know calmer heads prevailing. Um, but there was a lot that I missed. There was a lot that I failed at. There was a lot that I wasn't good at. Um, and I didn't know how to emotionally control a game, emotionally take over a game. And now, not only do I think that I know how to do it, but I know how to involve others in that as well, and use their strengths to it. No different than a Jordan and a Scottie Pippen, or a Jordan and a Steve Kerr. So just really being able to get my teammates involved, being able to lean on them, being able to hone in on their strengths and what they're good at, and lifting them up as well, because it's not all about me. Baseball is a team sport, whether you want it to be or not. Somebody at first base has to catch that ball that you throw. Somebody has to pitch that ball that gets hit to you. You know what I'm saying?
Oh yeah,
And
yeah.
I think that there's a lot of failure that led up to being able to manage, what you were asking me.
Oh, see, I like how you brought up the emphasis on team because I can relate to that. I look back to my high school days on the basketball team. I I wouldn't consider myself a ball hog, but I had ball hog tendencies. I wanted to take my fair share of shots and stuff like that. But it's like I said, over time, getting older, maturing, um, I started to become more and more team first. So I'm willing to sacrifice a lot of shots to get my teammates involved, see them prosper. Because, like you were saying, once you see them prosper, it it's a different feeling than if it was yourself because you was willing to sacrifice your game to let others succeed, but you still reaping the benefits of their success because their success is your success, which is team success. So, yeah.
And I think that right there is the difference between understanding what a good and a bad teammate is.
Mhm.
I was a shitty teammate in college. I know it. Some of my teammates know it, and I think you have to go through those failures
Yeah,
to grow. One time, I'll share a quick story with you. One of my teammates, who was actually the captain of the team, my freshman and sophomore years, 2 years older than me, Travis Costello. He's now a doctor of physical therapy. He actually came out to Jacksonville and worked on myself, helping me rehab my ankle, but also worked on a lot of the other guys on the team. And at our school at the time, Xavier, we had to wear specific color socks, and I liked the Nike Elite socks. And the
yeah,
socks that we had to wear were not the same color as the Elite socks that I had. And it got to a place where my coach would literally, before practice, make us line up and have us pull up our pants, literally just above the ankles, just to check our socks. And
Wow.
he knew that I was going to fail. He knew that I knew I was going to fail. And it got to a place where, my teammates had to start running suicides for me. And I'll never
Did you
forget
run with your teammates? Did he make
my
you run?
coach. My coach made me sit in the middle. And every time that they ran past me, it was like, "Thank you, Chazz." That was a thing. And in the moment, right? Like, it never feels good, but being the 18-year-old, 19-year-old brat, just stupid. Um, you don't know how, like, arrogant and selfish of a person you are at the time. And I still had teammates that had my back, that showed me love, that cared about me, that showed me grace, that gave me grace, that gave me the benefit of the doubt. And I cherish those guys. This is a reason why I had Travis out in the capacity in which I did. He didn't have to come in and provide service for any of my teammates. He could have just got tickets and came to the game and watched and this, that, and the other. But we hung out. We got dinner. We ate with the team after every game. We played catch like the old days. I immersed him in that experience because I was at one point immersed in his, and he was immersed in mine. And that's what I want to bring to the table for every person that I cross paths with. You know what I'm saying? Is that
Yeah.
I was in the airport in Baltimore last night, and it was a young man that, like, I had one of my team sweaters on, and I had my glove in my hand because I just always carry my glove.
Mm-hmm.
And he was just like, "Hey, what team do you play on?" And easily, there's a lot of guys that will brush that off. That'll, like, be like, "Hey, like, I'm not talking to anybody right now," or this or that. But
Yeah.
everyone that I meet, even the flight attendant for Southwest Airlines, she's like, "Hey, what team do you represent? Love to come and watch you play." Give them that time of day. I have a
Yeah.
genuine conversation. I fist bump that young man and I ask him, "Hey, what team do you play on?" "Oh, I play on 5 Star." "Okay, cool. What position you play?" "Oh, I'm second base, shortstop, I'm true utility, blah, 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 blah." I get to know him. Even
Yeah.
if I never see him again, you know what I'm saying? I care. And I want to give you that moment, whether it be 5 minutes or 5 hours. I want to be present for that because, as we go back to, no differently than Frank Thomas, he gave me his presence. He spent some time with me, and that just, forever always changed my life.
Okay. All right. So during this whole process, we've been talking, going back and forth. We've yet to really bring up the cosmic baseball. So, um, first, let's start off. What landed you um, in Virginia with this team?
It goes back to relationships. Brandon Crosby and I met in 2022, October of 2022. We played in a tournament with the same guy that was, scouting us and getting all our information out there to get an opportunity in indie ball. And we actually met in a tournament at the Astros spring training stadium that we played in together. It was a 4-day tournament, and I scored twice every game, and we won the
Mm,
championship. And I had
okay.
0 hits in the entire tournament.
Wow.
So I walked a lot, and I stole a lot of bases, and I played good defense. And my trainer, Fernando, my guy, he came to the championship game just to watch because he's supportive. He wants to see his athletes in action as well. And I introduced Fernando and Brandon because Brandon asked me, he's like, "Hey, how do you move like that? Like, what do you do to
Hmm.
move like that?"
Hmm.
Connected him and Fernando. That next off season, or that off season actually, probably 2 weeks later, we started training together. And Brandon and I really connected. We hit it off. One thing led to another, and We see him, Brandon, every day. We're working out together. We're growing together. I take him to, I introduce him to Barry Larkin, and I introduce him to Lark, and he comes and works out with us, and we just build this relationship and bond over baseball. And um, that's one of my best friends, one of my brothers. And he ended up playing indie ball for a couple of years. Got an opportunity to play with the Savannah Bananas. That experience led him to, wanting to continue forward with entertainment baseball. He got a call about this and what they were building here. He's from Richmond. I really call him the man of the town. This is his area.
Okay.
And once he got the call, he found out more information. He knew kind of my path and the last couple of years that I had in 2022, 2023 with the Northern Colorado Owls and Pioneer League, and 2024 in the Mavericks League. So in 2025, he's like, "Hey, I'm gonna come and do this. Would love to do this with you," because we never got a chance to really like play together outside of that tournament, that one tournament that we had. And I was like, "Cool, man. Like, I'm interested." Got the call, got all the information. Just like, where do I sign? And we didn't know it was going to be this. We didn't know it was going to turn into this. But we knew that it was another chance for us to be on the field, to continue to play the game that we love, but more importantly, to share it with others. And the rest is history.
Okay. So what's one unexpected challenge of playing in a touring, innovative league like Cosmic Baseball's Cosmic Takeover Tour? And how have you adapted?
Keeping professional intent with professional competitiveness, and while also keeping your composure, because it's an entertainment baseball setting. Mm-hmm. Now, that doesn't mean that it's any less competitive, because it's actually, to me, it's just as competitive as any pro baseball experience I've had, if not more.
I think it, didn't mean to interrupt, but I think it's a little bit harder than regular baseball, because like you said, you're playing the game competitively against another team, but you also have the aspect of fan entertainment, fan interaction, everything
fan
like that. Yeah,
all of that.
So you gotta still focus on the game, but you also have to focus on that part too.
Mm-hmm.
So like,
and it's helping me a lot, Xavier, because I was the guy that if I didn't have a good performance, ooh, don't be around me. And you can ask my girlfriend now, because she helps me get out of my own head. But especially like with this, being able to look a young kid in the eye, boy, girl, doesn't matter, just someone that loves the game of baseball, being able to look them in the eye and just see their joy, their happiness, whether I go 0 for 4 or if I hit, a ball 500 feet off the scoreboard. They don't care about the actual result. Very rarely do I hear exactly what I did in the game. Now, some people definitely acknowledge my performance from a standpoint of, hey, you're fun to watch. You did well today, this, that, and the other. But no one's talking about like what me doubling off the wall or me striking out. No one's talking about that. They're talking about, this was the best experience of my life. This is the best experience that I've had on a baseball field. This was the coolest thing that I've ever seen in my life. This was the coolest sporting event that I've ever been to. Thank you for including me in this. Thank you for being so kind to my son or my daughter. Thank you for being so kind to my family. Autographs, pictures, just, being able to do TikToks and stuff like that. I love Pokemon. I open up Pokemon cards with fans. I give Pokemon cards out to young kids who I know also like Pokemon. You know what I'm saying? So being able to really connect with people, I don't think major leaguers have that opportunity like that. I think it's so cutthroat and go, go, go.
mm-hmm.
You don't get that unless you have an extended contract, or you signed a large extension deal, and even then, that time, that presence is given very few and far in between.
Okay. So Chazz, I'm gonna get you out of here on this question right here. What's next for Chazz Kirkland? Um, more cosmic baseball seasons, growing your brands, or something entirely new? And how do all these pieces fit into your long-term vision?
Yeah, I mean, what a wonderful question, Xavier. I mean, wow. Um, what's in store for me? I have no idea. I like I tell my mom, I tell you the same thing. I take this day by day
Yeah.
because I'm truly enjoying it. You know, I don't try to get too far ahead, and I don't stay behind at all. What's done is done, and we move forward. I want to play this game for as long as I possibly can. I want to be a part of Cosmic Baseball for as long as I possibly can. In my off seasons, I intend to run camps, clinics, and give back to the youth. But I'd also like to play internationally. I like to experience this game in different countries, amongst different cultures. And in terms of brands, I feel like that's a daily development, right? Like I'm submitting daily votes, daily deposits towards not just the man that I am, but I'm more importantly the man that I want to become, the type of athlete that I want to become. And I'm finding what I like. I'm 29. I feel like I still have a lot of life and time and world ahead of me. But to do this, right? Like one of the members of the front office actually told us that, or actually no, this was my manager Ray Sensei Ortega, who I think you should connect with as well. I'd love to connect you guys.
Okay.
He said that the percentage in terms of chance of playing cosmic baseball, you are more likely to be struck by lightning twice than
Mm,
to have stumbled upon and find and play in this league at this time, at this moment, and be on either one of these teams. And I think that there's something so special about that because as I get to know these fine gentlemen more on both sides, not just my teammates, but also the Chili Peppers. Um, every one of them is special. Every one of them has a unique and special story, which is why I texted you just like, hey, are you just interested in talking to me, or do you want
yeah.
to connect with some other guys?
Hmm.
And there are some profound stories. There's a lot of good talent here. There are guys in this league that throw 98, 99, 100 miles per hour, and they're throwing it in the dark. And there are also guys that hit that in the dark. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And Xavier, for me, I think more than anything, I just want to continue to walk God's path. When I'm playing cosmic baseball, I feel like I'm doing that. I feel like I'm connected and close to Him, no differently than I did when I was in Florida, asking for the things that I prayed about. So I want to share this. I want to blow this up. I want this to be something special. I consider this the next live golf because it's
Mm,
a it's a it's a
I
it's
like
an
that
oppor-
comparison.
it's an opportunity. It's an opportunity that changes a classic game, right?
Yeah.
Golf, one of the oldest sports in history. Um, PGA Tour and Live Golf clashed for years, and now they're under the same roof because they want the same things, and they always did. They just went about it differently, right? They
Hmm.
just spoke two different languages.
Yeah.
But specifically for baseball, there are so many kids that we've crossed paths with that have been crushed by baseball, demoralized by baseball, heartbroken by baseball. And what I would say is it when I was 16 and I got cut as a junior, it took an incredible amount of strength to get back up and dust that off and keep going. And I don't think everybody has that naturally. I know that I didn't have it naturally. I had to go into a different bag and come out on the other end very, very different. And I'm grateful that I did because it's a testament of who I am today. And also, I want to lighten that load, lighten that burden for as many young kids as I can because now they're saying, "Hey, I actually don't want to play for the Yankees. I want to play for the Glowmojis when I get older. How do I do that? How do I get
Hmm.
into that? How do I become a part of that?" And I think when you boil it down, you ask any of these major league guys, it's a cherry on top to be able to be compensated and live the lifestyle that these major leaguers do. But what it's really about for them is that they get to play the game that they love, knowing and have been enjoying since they were 3, 4, 5, 6 years old.
Okay. Chazz, man, I appreciate the time. Man, thank you for telling your story. It's it, it's going to resonate with a lot of people, especially young baseball players that look like us. Um, it's more than one path to success, especially in sports, especially in baseball. Um, you're a beacon of hope. You're an example of what can happen. Um, and like I said, man, I appreciate you for everything, especially giving your time, telling your story. And right now, the floor is yours um, to push anything you got going on as far as upcoming games, tournaments, merch, social media. The floor is yours. Have it away,
Yeah,
my brother.
man. No, Xavier. I mean, first and foremost, thank you for inviting me into your house. This is special. This is beautiful. I think anytime that you can share a conversation, right?
Yeah.
I truly think that it's God's work. I think it's something that is going to make an impact and leave a digital footprint for as long as this is accessible for others. The message that I want to leave to any athlete, whether you're a baseball player or not, softball, tennis, soccer, football, basketball, athletes in general, ambitious people in general.
Mm-hmm.
If you've got a dream, if you've got a goal, if you've got a desire, if you've got something burning inside of you that like is telling you to go after something and you're passionate about it, go do it. Try it. You will not regret it. And my testament to you is that the measurement of a hero is not anything more than how well they're able to be themselves. Period. Point blank. Period. And I failed a lot. I fell short a lot. I struck out, and I struck out a lot. I do. And it happens to everyone. And that's not just in this game. It's also a metaphor for life where you're going to fail, but you have to keep going.
Yeah.
I got an underdog story, and I'm proud of it. And, just wherever you are on your journey, whether you're an athlete, whether you're a business person, whether you're pursuing, medical school or a law degree or whatever, you're going to face some challenging times, but how you overcome that is going to live with you forever. And just know that giving up is not an option. You got to keep going, ask for help, reach out. God is not going to give you more than you can handle. He's going to give you what you need and more. And what I can say is on the other side of that struggle, it is glory. And my story took me 5 years to reach this point of happiness. And it's funny because I got off the phone with my brother on my way over here, on my way to get, jump on the podcast. And he was like, he was talking to one of his best friends growing up. And he's just like, Chazz just seems genuinely happy with what he's doing. And he was like, yeah, man. And he's like, I know he's not in the major leagues and he's not necessarily making millions of dollars, but he's making an impact and he's happy with what he's doing. And I think that that's what the pursuit is about.
Yes.
That's what
Yes.
that's what it really is about. All that other stuff, it comes and it goes. But it's like, do you genuinely love what you do? And if you do, you ain't never gonna work a day in your life. So I just, follow me, reach out to me at Chazz the Great on all platforms. ChazzTheGreat. If I can help you, I will. And whether that be me lending a helping hand, me looking at video, me inviting you out to a game, whatever that looks like, I want to help. I know all of my teammates want to help. Lock in with us, follow us, reach out to us. We're here. We are not big leaguing anybody. We want to help. We want to make an impact. And we want to be a part of your journey. So, Xavier, once again, thank you so much for your time, man. And I look forward to getting you out to your first Cosmic game so you can see it, bringing your son so he can be a part of it. And I look forward to just, building our relationship for years and years to come, man. I'm excited to see what this does, what Game On Media becomes, because you got something special here, man. And I know athletes want to be a part of it, and the world needs it more than anything.
Oh, man, I really do appreciate that, man. I really do. I can't wait to get out there and experience my first Cosmic baseball game. I'm sure I'm gonna have a good time.
Absolutely.
man, that's it, everybody. I'm Xavier Jones of Game On Media, and I want to, like I said, extend a thank you to you, Chazz, for everything, telling your story, being a beacon of hope, especially in the game of baseball. Good luck to the upcoming season and everything you have going on as far as branding, the game, entrepreneur pursuits, everything. Man, wishing you nothing but success, and keep pushing forward, man, and keep telling your story, man, because it's special. It is. It really is. And I'm thinking about it. Like we talked about baseball, like the Cosmic. We talked about it a little bit, but just you telling your story about what you went through, the 2 years off, the men's league, going to God with 3 specific things, Hall of Famer Barry Larkin becoming your mentor, and you still training with him to this day. And then you potentially sleeping on the couch of Fernando. Man, that's just, like I said, man, you have a story, but it's also it's a testimony to all young baseball players out there that's looking to pursue professionally or just continue to play the game that they love. And you have to keep telling your story, and I'm gonna do my part on pushing your story out there as much as I can for people to see it, to listen to it, to watch it, and hopefully I can bring more people out to come see you guys playing. So, yeah.
I mean, man, I'm grateful. I think what you're doing is so much more than you know, and just giving me the opportunity to share it. That's everything. So we're on to something great here, and
Yes,
Xavier,
yes,
I'm excited, man. More to come for sure.
As am I, and we're gonna have to do this. We have to do another one in person.
Yeah, no
Yes.
doubt. Absolutely.
Oh man, and like again, I know I keep thanking you, but like I said, man, anytime you can just carve out the amount of time that you did to do this, I'm forever grateful. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Yes, sir. Absolutely, man. My pleasure.
All
Appreciate
right,
you.
man. Be safe out there, man.
Yes, sir. You too. Take care.
All right. You too. Thank you.